Hello everyone and welcome. Sit back, relax, make a cup of tea or whatever you like to drink and get ready for new stories from YellowCat. Send your own favorite stories in the comments below and maybe they'll be in our new video. So subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed yet and let's get started. What is your best and that's why I had to fire the guy tale managers, part 2. We had a man working with us for a total of 3 months. I'll refer to him as Bob. It appeared as though he had been handed a booklet titled Top 10 Things Not to Do at Your New Job. He broke each one of them. The man who hired him knew he was struggling financially, so he gave him a lot of leeway. They both attended the same church. Item 1. We fly to Arizona to conduct an inspection, but because the cleaning crew was taking so long, we had to wait until afternoon on day 2 to begin work. We can't go in until they're done. It's true what they say, it's all yours. Bob makes the decision to switch phone plans by calling ATT. He watches us set up the equipment for about 10 minutes, then shrugs his shoulders and says, "I'm on hold." After that, I avoided talking to him unless it was absolutely required. Took an hour and 45 minutes for the phone call. Holy crap. Item 2 is the lone man who drinks during dinner and gets wasted. Mainly, we go and dine together. We occasionally have 1 or maybe 2 beers. Item 3. He's expected to keep an eye out in case the fumes get to one of us. After that, he can dial 911. We made it clear that cell phones were strictly prohibited at the facility and that he should only use it to call 911. Could be an ignition source. He's got a karate video game open on his iPhone when we look up. 45 minutes later, still in play. Item 4. When we arrive at another job for the safety orientation, we're informed that everyone must be clean-shaven in case respirators are required. I have 2-day stubble and Bob has a full goatee. We head back to the hotel where I'm madly shaven with cold water. I didn't have to, but I felt bad and I thought I might as well since I knew I had 15 minutes. Oh my god, after an hour my boss calls Bob to ask why it's taken so long. He was playing Call of Duty in his hotel room, which shocked me. He was not even close to shaving. My eyebrows went straight up. When we returned from the "you guys need to shave" trip, he was quickly fired even though we needed him to keep an eye on things. Because my boss is so incredibly kind, I believe Bob only lasted 3 months based on other stories I have about him. Had another man fired for not passing a test for illegal substances. Another is that I won't finish any computer work for a month. We use computers at home for half of our work, and I often miss 3 months of work without seeing my boss. Anyway, he calls to say he was taking 2 weeks off for a fishing trip and that he had not completed any work. Just take the remainder of the year off as well, I guess. Although I didn't fire the person, I started a chain reaction. My father runs a building company, so I assisted in overseeing construction sites during the summers while I was in high school and college. Moreover, I would be a head laborer. However, my official title was superintendent's assistant. I would assist with the subcontractors, take photo logs, conduct a head count of everyone present that day, and keep an eye on the job site for safety. Simple tasks that students in high school or college could perform. When I was doing my head count one day when I was about 16, I came upon an electrician working on a ladder about 8 feet up in a room with a ceiling that was about 15 feet. He had taken off his hard hat. Everyone on the site was required to wear a hard hat at all times, even though he was inside and therefore not in immediate danger of a falling object. I politely asked him, "Excuse me, sir, would you mind putting on your hard hat?" since he was older than I was. He puts down his work and descends the ladder. He has a big crescent wrench in his hand that resembles a crowbar in Gordon Freeman's hand. With a stern expression on his face, he asks, "What'd you say to me, boy?" My 16-year-old self is now quite afraid. This taller, more eerie electrician seems to want to beat the living daylights out of me. He's holding a tool that could bash my head in. I say again, "Will you please wear your hard hat at all times and on the job site?" He grabs the hat and throws it to the ground. A few pieces of plastic fly into the air as it cracks. He says with a raised tone, "I'm more worried about tripping on this S on the floor than something falling on the ceiling and hit me on the head." He gestures to a few loose wires and conduit, which were clearly left over from the work he had been doing in the space. However, he gave the impression that I was to blame for not having it cleaned up. I occasionally cleaned up job sites as well. He was aware of this, holding that crescent wrench the entire time. I essentially replied, okay, sure, and quickly made my way back to my trailer. When I return, I have a conversation with the site's project manager. I explain what transpired to him. He then gives his boss on the job site, the electrical foreman, a call. This is not the crazy guy. The PM informs him of the recent events and promises to speak with the man. As the day wears on, I spend most of it inside the trailer completing documentation. The PM was aware of my slight panic. I return home. However, when I visit the site the following day to conduct my routine head count, the insane electrician guy is nowhere to be found. A little later, I get stopped by the electrical foreman who says, "Hey, you know that guy Derp from yesterday? Well, I let him go. There's no need to scare a young child who's just trying to do his job." He continued by telling me how he had gone about telling every member of his crew that they would be fired immediately if they didn't wear a hard hat while working on site. Everything went smoothly for the remainder of that job. Everyone wore hard hats. We experienced an issue with someone pilfering copper from our storage facility. Even though we didn't know who it was, we were able to figure out that it was someone who had access to the warehouse keys. After the first two thefts, we noticed what we believed to be a pattern in the perpetrator's actions. The weekend staff would report the robbery on the first Saturday of each month. Thus, we deduced that on Friday evening, someone had to be arriving. We came up with a plan because we were obviously upset about the theft and didn't want to be taken advantage of. We hired police officers to wait in the parking lot across from our building while they were off duty, and we covertly installed cameras. When the first Friday of the month arrived, I'm waiting that evening in a different parking lot from the officers who are not on duty. Someone pulls in at 2 in the morning. It takes me about 30 minutes to realize that the police are not coming. I approach and tap on the door, but for some reason, they didn't notice the person coming inside. After a lengthy tale, they approach the warehouse with the keys in hand. They give me a call after about 30 minutes. They claim to have arrested someone, and that person desired to talk to me face to face. So, I head to the warehouse, a little anxious and perplexed. We have one of our shop guys handcuffed. Let's just call him Eric and mention that he was a member of the minority. I see a huge mess right away. There are Rubbermaid containers filled with large copper pipe that has been broken up into tiny pieces. We're talking about several $1,000s. "Hey mister, tell these cops you authorized me to be in here cutting," this Eric guy begins to say to me as soon as I walk in. "Tell the police to release me. I didn't act improperly. Tell them I came in to chop all this copper because you asked me to." Holy balls, I'm thinking to myself. You come in here and take my stuff, and then you want me to tell you that I gave you permission to steal? When I tell the police that I did not give my permission for him to be there, Eric bursts into tears, accusing me of being a racist who has planned to harm him. What is the most exciting, crazy story you have about your HOA or neighbors? Part 2. Make your HOA understand that dealing with you is easier than ignoring you. A brief review of the following. From February 2020 until the present, someone had been parking in my spot. This is always the same person. When it comes to days, as much as once a week. I was the one who took pictures. I made some notes. I made contact with the management company for the HOA. I made a call to tow trucks. There was nothing I could do to get the car towed, regardless of how much I complained or how hard I tried. Only calls from individuals on their list would be honored by the tow company when they came to our property. My communication with the HOA management company came to an end when they informed me that they do not deal with parking issues and that they would relay my information to the HOA board. After that, I was added to their list. They assured me that they would inquire about the board's contact information, but despite the fact that I sent them multiple emails, I never received a response from them. I began conducting research for the members of the Board of Directors in the House of Associations without having a clear idea of what I was trying to find. I was aware that our homeowner's insurance policy had run out of coverage. In spite of the fact that the web portal for the HOA did not contain the most recent binder or policy, there's a good chance that it had not recently expired. In order to bring this to a close, I took screenshots, copied and pasted the HOA laws in Georgia that require them to have insurance, and then posted these pictures all over the property. It was 2 hours later when they sent out a broadcast email, and the following day I received a call regarding the insurance. As of today, I received a plethora of 23 emails that I had sent since February 2020 but had not received a response to. I am now on the list of individuals who are able to contact the tow company in the event that someone is parked illegally. How fortunate I was to come across something like this that I could use to my advantage. If, on the other hand, your HOA is ignoring you, they needed to make sure that their S didn't smell bad. If this is not the case, you can demonstrate to them that it's more convenient for them to simply deal with you rather than ignore you. Cast is, of course, me, dear hubby, DH, and the naughty neighbor, AN. I eventually persuaded DH to relocate to Florida about 4 years ago. Consider the Scientology domain. We took the risk and purchased a fantastic small house near the beach because the kids are now grown and off to college. Everything's going great. We socialize with all of the neighbors after getting to know them. I'm overjoyed right now. My backyard fence is made of wood between me and my neighbor AN on the left and vinyl on the other 3 sides. Hurricane Irma prevented us from changing it to vinyl as we had intended. As you please, I knocked it down beautifully. My new fence's labor and material costs took 3 months or so to pay for. If I can, I prefer to pay with cash. AN suddenly remarks, I don't know why you spend all this money on the fence. You can't put it up. And he and DH are unloading my new fence. Hold on, what? How come I'm unable to post it? The property line between us, AN continued to tell me, passed directly through the center of my shed where I intended to install the new fence and where the old one was attached. In addition, AN claimed that while he was away, the neighbor across from him installed a new fence and he forced her to take it down when he returned. You must be joking with me. Put an eye roll here. But I don't get intimidated easily. Actually, I was pretty irrational. I called the surveyor, who I had just bought the house from, and told him what was wrong. We scheduled a meeting for the upcoming week. As soon as they arrived, they exited their vehicle. AN crosses the field and says, "You guys can't be on my land. This is not public property." The crew's leader was extremely courteous as he explained that they could and would resolve the property line dispute on his land. AN was more than free to engage his own surveyor and pursue legal action if he agreed with their conclusions. Oh my goodness, he was furious. I discovered that the original fence had stood 22 inches past the shed, marking the edge of the property. It took DH 21 and a half hours to install my fence. I've never been more pleased with him. Even though it's the hottest day of the year, we're still unable to use our pool. 5 days before Memorial Day on May 25th, we were informed that our pool was unable to be opened due to problems that were preventing it from being opened. Despite the fact that we have been aware of these problems for years, they chose to use that as an excuse. Now that we have it fixed, we proceed to say that our pump motherboard is defective and that the only ones that are compatible with our machine are custom ordered from Ukraine. Therefore, we purchased an entirely new pump and have it installed, which is estimated to take between 7 and 10 days. Fast forward to the 28th of June, and we start the process of properly filling the pool and balancing it. Cool, there's only 1 month left until the season begins. No. After waiting until the 21st of July, we were finally informed that the pool had been balanced. However, in the meantime, our fob system had been fried, and it will not be possible to fix it until the following week. Considering that we have non-fob key gates on our fence, a number of our neighbors have volunteered to take on the role of security guards. All they have to do is open the gate, and we will take care of the situation. It took the board 2 days to respond, and as of this morning, their statement is that the pool is not currently balanced, despite the fact that it's under contract with a pool company and has been treated since June 28th. This has occurred despite the fact that not a single swimmer has entered the water since the treatment began. When it comes to these idiots, I'm so effing angry right now. Because there are only 6 weeks left in the season, we have spent thousands of dollars on a pool that we haven't been able to use at all, and it is extremely hot. Why did I send a letter demanding that our ineffective president resign? The board is perplexed by my actions. We were able to get the secretary fired and replaced at the most recent annual meeting. There are still 3 more meetings left, and we will be free of the Karen board. Update: we have at long last removed all of the outdated HOA board. Victory is achieved. Guys, thank you for all the support and likes. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed yet. See you next time.